So the Jets wide receiver room outside of Garrett Wilson is not great, not ideal. Could they add to it? Well, I think that veteran free agents like Keenan Allen, like Amari Cooper, who would be, like, we don't have 6 wide receivers that we're going to roster who are better than them, obviously, but I don't think the Jets are going to target that mold of player with what they've shown us through free agency. And let's be honest, I don't know if a Justin Fields-led offense with a rookie OC in MetLife Stadium is how those guys want to do their final act. So it probably cost a pretty hefty Jets tax to get one of those guys. Don't know if we need to be in the business of doing that. But there could be some options via trade. Now, Pickens just went to the Cowboys because the Steelers were not planning on extending him. So they parted with him and got the trade capital that they could rather than waiting a year and losing him via free agency. There's 2 other wide receivers from that draft class that I think maybe their teams could have a similar thought process with. Like, okay, we're not going to extend you, so what can we get for you? Number 1 is Romeo Doubs, his name has been buzzing, I'll say, and like it's all fan and media speculation, no official insider trade rumors, no trade requests or anything like that. But they go ahead and they get Golden. They have a couple of the guys like Wicks and Christian Watson. So if Doubs could be had, he's okay. He's 25 years old. He's 6'2", 205. Over the last 2 years combined, he's got around 1,300 yards and 12 touchdowns. He has plenty of X wide receiver alignment, which the Jets could use. Drop rate a little high, nothing crazy, but a little high. Yak is low. Average depth of target is very high, so he seems to be able to stretch the field a bit. Look, man, he's a 25-year-old starting NFL receiver. If he's your wide receiver 2, that's probably not great. It looks like maybe more of a high-end 3. So obviously your trade compensation would have to reflect that. Pickens went for a 3rd and some change. Doubs should go for less because Pickens is a low-end 2 or a low-end 1 to really good wide receiver 2. Now, if you bring him in, okay, you add him behind Garrett Wilson and you hope either Corley or Smith pop. Even if we're removing the stopgap veterans like Lazard, Reynolds, Johnson, and you look at this wide receiver room moving forward, you have Garrett Wilson, and then behind him you have Doubs, Smith, and Corley. Like, look, man, Corley was drafted. The 59th overall pick is the total points they allocated to him. He was drafted to be a wide receiver 2. Smith, 4th round, drafted to be a wide receiver 3. So Joe Douglas, Darren Muji, all right, that's what you drafted them to be. Should they be that, right? And even if they're not, like if it's behind Garrett is Doubs, Corley, and Smith, like if Corley and Smith kind of disappoint, they're a 3 and a 4, and Doubs is like your 2. It's a somewhat of a function. Like he makes your wide receiver room a functional wide receiver room. Where right now it's like just Garrett and some dudes. Let's call it what it is. So, that could be worthwhile because at the end of the day, next offseason, we're going to be mocking wide receiver to the Jets within the first 3 picks anyway. So if they could trade a pick now, then that might be worthwhile. Now, I think with these trades, both of these names, I think the Jets should only trade for a player they want to extend and want to have be a part of their future. I get it. You can rent him and have the comp pick back. That's just not guaranteed, and the comp pick is usually less than. If you're going to trade for him, have it be for a player that you want to have here for 3-4 years. The next one would be Alec Pierce, he was a beast coming out of that draft class. I loved him. 500 yards apiece in his first 2 years. Then he really popped last year, 824 yards and 7 touchdowns last year with 22.3 yards per catch, which is absolutely crazy. He's a little bit of a one-trick pony man, but he's so good vertically and tracking the ball deep and coming down with contested catches. He's such a good field stretching wide receiver, even though he's not like a 4.3 speed guy. Super strong at the catch point, super tough. Now, again, the Colts, they have Pittman, who's locked up. They have Downs. They just drafted A.D. Mitchell. They just drafted Tyler Warren. So, again, if they want to part with him and put money in draft picks to other parts of their team other than pass catcher, could see it. I think he'd cost more than Doubs, but he is, I think, a legitimate, like, that's your wide receiver 2. Where Doubs, he's kind of in the mix there, just your wide receiver 3, and you're still maybe need a wide receiver 2. But Pierce can come in and be that wide receiver 2 behind Garrett Wilson, and you're feeling pretty good. I mean, look, Anthony Richardson, is he any more accurate than Justin Fields? And look at the numbers that he put up there. So those would be the two names to maybe keep an eye on via trade for the Jets at wide receiver, and we'll talk about it soon.